Lombardi Sweep. Thank you to everybody who voted for us in the Volume 1 polls. Now it's out of our hands. We don't know when the winner is going to be announced. It might be a month from now, it might be 2 months from now. All I know is it's going to be enough time for me to forget about it, and then hopefully we don't miss the news. That's my worry. But thank you for everyone who voted. I do think we have a good chance. So, if we win the award, it's more than just our award. It's all of us, right, guys? You
Yep.
know,
It's our award.
I mean, we'll for sure own it and keep it and celebrate it, but we would be nothing without the listeners, the viewers. Absolutely, we would just be Packer fans, and who wants to be that, especially in a week like this week? Not good.
Janet's Legion of Horny Men. Thank you.
Yeah, no shit. But yeah, let's talk about this past week. So Packers played the Giants on Monday Night Football. Short week, short turnaround now for next week. But Packers kind of, we had some differing opinions on the show, but I don't think any of us were like extremely confident going into it. I don't think any of us thought the Packers were going to fully handle business like maybe others in the industry did. Ultimately, I ended it by saying I hope we get essentially a showcase from Wink Martindale, and I think we got exactly that. Giants defensive coordinator. Packers end up losing the game. Jordan Love has one of his worst games, maybe not statistically, but for the season, terrible game. He had some insane throws, though, too. Like that Malik Heath touchdown was insane. Like it was so good, but it was another case of a lot of good, some good, a lot of bad, not much in the middle, inconsistency from Jordan Love in this team as a whole. And we made another career. We bring people to relevance, and Tommy Cutlets, Tommy DeVito, congrats. You have Joe Barry and some others. Rashawn Gary, you should send something nice to Rashawn Gary, to be completely honest. The amount of times that he lets you just, go out on the edge and run for your life. Looking like Lamar Jackson out there. Dare I say looking like Danny Dimes out there, a Vanilla Vic of sorts.
Dude, that was like, it was getting to the point where it was like Kaepernick-esque from Tommy DeVito.
It was. So many years. Like, oh, good. Packers made the playoffs. Who are we playing? Uh-oh. Right. Here we go again. Or is like a Joe Webb, even that. Like any running quarterback we could not handle. But yeah, I mean, story of the game, I would say. Packers can't stop the run, whether it be Saquon Barkley or Tommy DeVito. Trevor's pissed. He just left for the people listening. But yeah, DeVito by himself ran for 71 on 10 carries. Saquon 86 and 2 touchdowns. Could have had another costly fumble from him. Didn't really matter. Another story, I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson kind of gave him a nice little revival. The thing I want to say before I turn it over to you guys is I think it's important to note that the result of this game wasn't because of the players we had out.
Agreed.
And I think that's kind of been the story. Like, if we had Christian Watson, or Packers desperately need Christian Watson back, stuff like that. And Christian Watson went to fix this. There was a lot bad from every phase of the game for the Packers, offense, defense, and especially special teams in this game. It was a collective loss, and we got out-coached as well.
Yep. I'll say, and of course, it's like people are going to say, oh, fuck you, Luke, it's hindsight's 2020. I was probably caught up in the media storm last week. I think I admitted that on the show. I'm admitting it now. Like, I was very worried about this game the entire week. There was hype around the team. I was having fun with the hype. That being said, that game, like, it really felt like an early season game this year, right? Jordan Love wasn't good right away, and it kind of felt like they went back to holding his hand. Like, the Packers felt like they didn't use the middle of the field at all, through like the first 2.5, 3 quarters of the game. They, on that last drive to take the lead there, it started to open up a little bit. I mean, and we've talked about this how many times, but it seems like it all comes down to, like Zach, you said, they can't stop the run. Packers can't run the ball right now. Like, this offensive line can't block for shit. A.J. Dillon's not running nearly as good as he was like 4 or 5 weeks ago. You can obviously tell it's a huge blow with Aaron Jones out just in playmaking ability. And the runs that they're doing is like Jaden Reed's awesome to see him on a jet sweep, but Jaden Reed's also awesome to see running forward as opposed to sideways. So I don't know if this is, I'm not going to call this a fluke game from the Packers because I think this team is more like the team we saw against the Giants compared to the team that we saw against the Lions. They're probably somewhere in the middle there. But in all, it was a shitty game from Green Bay. I'm not going to say it's a bad loss because they're still the 7th seed, right? But it's a bad loss.
Yeah, I mean, I will say before Trevor goes, like AJ Dillon didn't run very well. Packers didn't run the ball very well, but they ran it at every point that they didn't need to.
Sure.
Like at the end of the game, AJ Dillon started to run a little bit better, and then we just got away from it.
Sure.
Like, okay, let's let Jordan Love lose the game instead. Like that's essentially what it was, and can't win with that. But yeah, Trevor, what were your thoughts?
I mean, it's just a more social media thing, and I don't think anybody on Twitter is trying to say that. Well, not a lot of people. There are some that are trying to say it, but all this comparing stats for Love's first how many games to Rodgers' first how many games, and then people were like, "Oh, look at the wind on these throws." I'm not trying to say Aaron Rodgers didn't have a bad game. When was the last time we talked about Aaron Rodgers got affected by the wind?
Never.
Like there are many times where he came out and say like, yeah, I take the win into account because he's a very smart quarterback. Like we cannot put him on the same pedestal. I don't think any game is more obvious that he's not even close than now. Because Aaron Rodgers makes those throws. It could be a goddamn hailstorm with hurricane winds and he'd be making those throws. So I'm not trying to get held up on saying Love is bad or anything, but for the crowd that says, Hall of Fame quarterback, we haven't skipped a beat, Jordan Love's the guy. Like, there's still clearly stuff that he isn't figuring out. And those throws that were getting affected by the wind a lot were at the end of the game, too. Like, that's when you should have it figured out from. And so you add that into other inconsistencies in the game, and it's just really tough to see, especially after he made some strides forward, little strides, just to kind of, like Luke said, be back to pretty much week 2, week 3. It's pretty sad to see.
Well, I mean, it's been what I've said the entire time. Like, I think Jordan Love has progressed mentally. Like, I think he understands the offense now. I think he understands where he needs to look and where his reads are for the most part now. He doesn't have a talented arm. He doesn't have arm talent. And that's not something he's just going to wake up and have. It's something we've talked about since he was drafted. He doesn't have arm. He doesn't have the power. He doesn't have the mechanics. He doesn't have the accuracy. He underthrows everything. He misplaces every throw, even slants. Like, when it's windy, when the elements are in play, then those little things get magnified. And even if we look back the past few weeks where he had those insane shots down the field to Christian Watson, Dobbs, people like that, I'm not saying he never makes good plays because there's some good throws. That one throw in the end zone to Christian Watson was a good throw. It was definitely a missed time from the DB, but it was a good throw as well. But for the most part, like he lobs them up, and it's not really great throws. It's receivers making great plays and defenses making terrible plays. And say what you want about the Giants defense. I think they're largely untalented for the most part. But Wink Martindale is going to coach them up really well. They're going to be disciplined. They're going to be in the right spots. And if they are minimizing their mistakes because of great coaching, like the Packers have been thriving off of mistakes and they just weren't there.
Yeah.
So if it's just man on man, Packers are going to lose.
Yeah, I agree. And on the flip side to the Packers defense, like that last drive for the Giants, it felt like everybody and their mother knew what was going to happen there, right? Like, did the Packers leave on too much time? Probably. But is this Packers team good enough to not leave on too much time? Probably not. Like with this Packers team, you score when you can score, and you let everything else work its way out. So I'm not mad at that at all. But like, I don't know. Everybody and their mother knew that Fat Randy was coming in and kicking in the game-winning field goal there.
Yeah. I will say though, like we can't. This isn't a defensive loss. I feel like that's,
I agree.
I know you're not saying it, but I feel like a lot of people are saying we lost because of the defense and because we didn't have Christian Watson, and that's so not true. For the majority of the game, the defense played pretty well, and obviously we gave up too much in the run game. And obviously the defensive ends, well, that's not true. Preston Smith is incredibly good.
Yep.
Rashawn Gary doesn't know how to set the edge. He gets sucked in and bites on every fake. And when that happens, there's going to be wide open running lanes. And one person who hasn't been getting any shots fired at them, and hello, my name's Zach Brunner. I'm going to call people out. Devondre Campbell's been fucking bad.
Yeah.
Like flat out bad. He doesn't know where he is half the time. And I don't know if it's because he's trying to get everybody else like aligned and he's worrying about too much. Like if he has too much on his plate because, the chaos and shit show around him, that could for sure be it. But he doesn't know what he's doing pre-snap. He's making the wrong reads. He is not feeling like, when's the last time he's had back-to-back games of like 4 or 5 tackles and stuff like that? He's just not really getting involved. And in fact, he's kind of getting outplayed by Isaiah McDuffie.
Yeah, and to add on to that, like Devondre Campbell coming in, he was great in pass coverage. He's been bad in pass coverage this year as well.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been super optimistic about his pass coverage, but he was better last year for sure. For sure, he was always great against the run though. Like he filled in the right spots, and Steve talks about interior D line. Like I think he's talking about Newton, going to draft somebody. Packers interior defensive line, when they're not doing their job, then you need to have the inside backers to fill, and they weren't doing it. But overall, I mean, Kenny Clark, I think, continues to play extremely well.
Yeah.
He continues to be the MVP of the defense.
I'm still thinking about that get off that TJ Slayton head.
Insane, dude.
Incredible.
He was so close.
Yeah.
So close. He's had a good year.
Yes.
Like, he is one of the players that I think have made the biggest strides on this entire team, legitimately.
Mm-hmm.
From where coming in, where it's like, we joked about, like, he couldn't breathe. And then now he's playing a decent amount of snaps.
Coming into Lambeau, he said, I have to figure out how to breathe up there.
Yeah. Yeah. And in college, it's like, okay, he's a rotational guy. Like, he'll play first downs, and that's about it. Because he can't breathe even in college. He's been good.
Yep.
He's been good. Stoof wants to know what our biggest need in the first round is going to be, and it's going to be the biggest need that I've been saying the past couple of years, but we will ignore it once again. We need an offensive tackle pretty badly. And I mean, last year we needed a right tackle. We still need a right tackle. However, we are going to need a left tackle now because David Bakhtiari will not be on the team.
Yep. Zach, I 100% agree with you. Just to throw a different opinion in there, I still want a superstar receiver.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Also, quarterback.
Sure. I'm going to go completely 180. Trade that first-round pick for Bill Belichick. I don't care.
Sure. That'd be fun.
Just don't let him draft. Although he might be better in Goot, so I don't really know.
No, the correct answer is offensive line, Zach. You're right.
Defensively, we should be okay.
Yep.
Like, we have the players. If you get someone in to bring them in and coach them, they should be okay. And I'm not saying, and I'm not one of the people to be like, we got all these first rounders. This is an amazing defense, because draft position doesn't mean they're a good player. We have some bad first rounders too. Eric Stokes is coming back maybe this week. He's one of them. But overall, this Packers team isn't a talentless one. They are a very young one, but with better coaching, they certainly could get better. Stoof talking about we could get Latham from Bama, who would be great, or Mims from Georgia. I mean, that'd be great. We will certainly take a Power 5 player. That's kind of our thing.
Always.
Yeah, like we like big name schools who have won in college because we think that'll bring the winning culture, and then we'll ruin them right away when they get here.
Well, that plus, like, that's the closest they're going to get to playing NFL talent in the last 4 years.
True. Yeah, very true. For whatever reason, Goot really believes we can get offensive line talent later in the draft. But, when we are taking players and immediately shifting their position, taking all these tweeners, that isn't really a strong case to be good. And always take a tackle. 1,000%.
Yep.
Tackles do not grow on trees. They are tough to find. And if you can get one that you can develop, a la Rasheed Walker, which was a good pick, and he hasn't been great. He's been fine, though. Like, that's what you need. If you're in the 5th round and you don't know what to take a tackle or a guard. But offensive line, man. Offensive line, defensive line.
Offensive line's kind of like I think I've made this analogy in the show many times, but like 3-point shooters in basketball, you can never have too many of them.
I mean, it's a dilemma around the NFL right now. Why is there such bad football? It's because offensive line is the worst it's ever been.
Yep.
People aren't getting trained well enough. The practice time is different, but overall, like the offensive linemen coming into college and stuff like that, not very good. So, yeah, and very different schemes now in the NFL as well.
Yep.
If we had a lot more people playing some zone schemes and just playing, basic football, we could be a lot better.
Yep.
But people don't know how to coach it.
Yeah, I'll say that just to go back to the game here, like that game sucked. It kind of disappointed me. It should disappoint Pack fans everywhere. I mean, the team had 3 wins in a row against. Well, I guess the Chargers aren't probably in this conversation, but against 3 of the better offenses in the NFL. So it sucks to see that. I guess, and I guess you know what can make up for it is I think Kanye West is dropping an album on Friday. I hope that stays true. If that stays true, we'll get Happy Luke next week.
Me too. I think he must have released one of his songs. I heard something new from him recently.
Yep.
Okay. I didn't know it was coming Friday. That'd be great. I think the biggest disappointment from this game, though, if we want to, give our biggest disappointments, I guess, like the fact that we could generate 0 pressure is really alarming.
Yep. Against a bad Giants offensive line.
That's the whole thing. Yeah. Like, okay, we know this offensive line is terrible. Let's see if we can get pressure. And it's not even like we've got pressure and then we didn't contain and they got out. Like we crashed in, got lost in the mess, and then like it was bad. Rashawn Gary, terrible.
Yeah.
Preston Smith had some good plays, but not rushing the passer. I don't know.
Like this is not a shot at Tommy DeVito because I love like the whole Italian thing and how his family was good, like just the stereotypical Italians. But against a guy who's like in his 4th career start that lives at home, like what the fuck?
Yeah, he's making under $500K this year.
Yeah.
Figure it out. The only thing we know about him is like, okay, if he's under pressure, he's gonna suck.
Mm-hmm.
Like all these inexperienced guards, just get pressure. All we had to do is blitz, run 0, and we would have had a better game. That's it. And that's it's a Joe Barry thing, but also it's a personnel thing. We shouldn't have needed to bring extra guys to get pressure on this team.
Right.
No one else has.
Terrible. Yeah. That felt like a prime Rashawn Gary game, and it wasn't.
Stu says you're not going to be happy if it's a political album, and I also agree.
I disagree with that. Like everyone wants to like say that like Kanye's last album, Donda, was like a horrible album because it was all gospel and shit. That's a better album than people think it is.
For sure.
Yeah.
The production on that album was insane.
Yeah. I mean, it's a Kanye album. The production's always going to be insane.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, content maybe is not what you want, but production was top notch still.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't give a fuck what they sing or rap about as long as it sounds good. I'm in.
Fair enough. Anything else from this?
No.
I don't care what they say as long as it sounds good. I don't know about that.
As long as it makes good music. Perfect.
I'm with you. And across more than just music. If it makes me laugh, if it makes me smile, I support it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been political things even that it's been like, you know what? I can enjoy it for what it is. I look at it as art.
Well, the peak like comedy.
Luke, are you a Riff Raff fan?
I like Riff Raff, man.
That's a good call out.
Yeah, like the peak that comedy has ever reached in world history was the Trump-Hillary debates. Those were so goddamn funny.
100%.
Yeah.
Also, I know someone who dated Riff Raff.
Incredible.
Yeah, and he was a little bitch apparently, which is
How
even funnier.
That's on brand for Riff Raff.
I know, but he was like too insecure, and that's why they broke up.
Yeah,
it was awesome. Okay. Anything else from the game?
No.
Okay. Moving on. Packers are at home against Tampa this week. Both teams needing a win. This would be an especially great win to have, just because it's another NFC team fighting for the wild card that the Packers would have that tiebreaker over. Currently have the tiebreak. We don't have the tiebreaker against the Falcons, so beating the Bucs, getting the Falcons up there as the divisional winner would be great. We have the tiebreaker obviously over the Rams. If we can get over the Bucs, that's great. Hopefully Giants keep losing. And Stoof does not live near Wisco. He knows someone who dated Riff Raff. I mean, maybe Riff Raff dated a lot of people.
I mean, to be fair, Riff Raff definitely dated over 100 people in his life.
Probably. This one was a long one, though. It was a long one.
Well, that doesn't mean anything for Riff Raff. Riff Raff's definitely a guy who's dating 5 people at once.
No. I mean, not from what I've heard.
Well, yeah,
I-
they wouldn't know.
No, I hate to say he's kind of a poser. I hate to say it.
You're telling me the guy with grills in his teeth and dreadlocks is a poser? I can't believe it.
The white guy, yeah,
I like his zigzag hair.
he's great. Great.
Yeah.
Injury reports here. Some alarming, some not. The players who did not practice on Wednesday here, and again, it's an estimation, didn't actually hold practice. AJ Dillon did not practice with a thumb injury. Darnell Savage didn't practice with the shoulder. Quay Walker with the shoulder, still not practicing. Christian Watson with a hamstring, not practicing. And Dontavian Wicks with an ankle.
That kind of sucks.
It does. I think Wicks is probably fine. I don't think Christian Watson goes this week. Quay, I think, is probably 50-50. Dylan, I think, is fine.
Yeah.
Who's got less honeys, riffraff, or Vanilla Ice?
Shout out Vanilla Ice, man.
Dude, Vanilla Ice, I mean, he's got that home improvement show.
Right.
I'm assuming it's canceled, but he's got to have more. He's handy.
Yeah, shout out Vanilla Ice.
One of my favorite things I like to say for like fun facts and stuff, I opened for Vanilla Ice, technically.
Hell yeah.
Because he played at halftime of a T-Wolves game, and I was in pep band before the
Hell
game.
yeah.
So technically,
Hell yeah.
it's not a lie. Limited in practice, and again, I think all of these guys are probably going to go this week. Jair, we'll see, but limited with a shoulder. Enigbare with a toe, Elton Jenkins with a shoulder, Aaron Jones with a knee. I do think he comes back this week. Keyshawn Nixon quad, Jonathan Owens knee, Jaden Reed knee, TJ Slayton quad. And that's it. Eric Stokes, a full participant, designated to return. I think he probably returns, and the crowd goes wild. Yay.
Yeah, Mike Evans is going to have his way with Eric Stokes.
I mean, hopefully Eric Stokes isn't on the field, but I'm afraid he probably will be.
Yeah.
Will he be? I mean, it's probably going to be Jair and him, huh?
Yeah.
It would be. I danced to Ice Ice Baby with a backwards hat, talent show like Step Brothers. I mean, hey, what do you want me to do with that beat hits? It's insane.
Top 5.
Yeah. Sorry, he did it better than Queen.
Right.
Whoops. I mean, it's different than Queen, though. Did he win that lawsuit? I can't remember. Probably not.
I'm guessing not if it's against Freddie Mercury.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, maybe not. But yeah, I think the biggest questions obviously people have, I think Watson's out. I think Aaron Jones comes back. I don't think Aaron Jones is going to come back to a full workload just because the Packers haven't done that, historically under the Matt LaFleur leadership here. So probably a frustrating game from Aaron Jones. Hooray.
What else?
Right. Buccaneers also had walkthrough, so this is all estimated. I don't know how much of these are serious. I know most of them are not, though. The players who did not practice are Carlton Davis with a groin,
nice.
Will Golston with a knee and ankle, Chris Godwin knee, Ryan Neal back, Zach Triner, their long snapper with an elbow. I mean, I guess that's significant. Vita Vea with a toe, and Devin White with a foot. It would be awesome if Vita Vea and Devin White were not there. However, I don't think we'll get that lucky.
No.
But yeah, I don't know. I assume we'll get a full helping of the Buccaneers this week. Again, Buccaneers currently tied for the NFC South lead right now with both the Falcons and the Saints. Saints, another one we got that tiebreaker over, I suppose. So definitely a must win. Baker Mayfield's played the Packers twice, each of the last 2 years, this exact time of year. Yeah, like just over 50%, lost both of those games. A lot of interceptions. We'll see what happens. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts with Baker Mayfield coming to town?
Yeah, I think I'm on record saying that Baker Mayfield will never win in Lambeau, so I think I got to stick by that. But like he just hasn't been good in Lambeau. I do think that continues. Although I do think that Buccaneers have their receivers match up very well against the Packers corners. And that'll ring true once the running game gets going, which go back and watch Fantasy Football by Committee. We're all very high on Rachaad White this week. just based off of what Saquon did last week, based on what everybody's doing against the Packers this week. You have to imagine Rachaad White gets going. That feels like, Chris Godwin, like he's been bad all year. Why doesn't Chris Godwin get 7 for 100 and a touchdown this game? Why does Mike Evans not catch a 65-yard touchdown this week? It all feels like it could happen, and I think it does happen. That being said, I'm not really scared of Tampa's defense. Like I said, if Vita Vea is out, I think the Packers can probably easily win this game. And that's all that's dependent on the run game. It'd be much easier to get a run game going without one of the biggest behemoths in the NFL on the defensive line. But that being said, I think both offenses kind of have their way in this game, and I think it kind of comes down to who fucks up first. And just based on history at Lambeau Field, I have to imagine that's Baker Mayfield.
Fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with Tampa just because everything you said about Baker is true. He came in with a bad Browns team, and they should have won that game. I think that's the best team he's coming to Lambeau Field with on both sides of the ball, and I don't think it's close. I mean, he came in with Cam Akers last year, and I think one receiver for LA after knowing the playbook for 2 weeks. I mean, let's be realistic here. So I think they get a win. I mean, Rashad, I don't know how the Packers stop this offense. And to your point about making a mistake first, Tampa's going to get pressure this game, especially if Vita Vea and Devin White play. And if I have to trust an arm, I've seen Baker Mayfield do it. The only time I've seen Jordan Love do it is when the refs throw a flag for pass interference, a la the New Orleans Saints. So for that reason, I'm leaning towards Buccaneers, but it should be a good close game. It certainly won't be a blowout.
Yeah, it feels like no way there's a blowout on either side. Those defensive injuries, if they are actually, legit, and any of those guys miss, that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned essentially almost all of their playmakers. They have some others in the, another linebacker, a couple DBs, but I believe in Todd Bowles. We've seen Matt LaFleur get out coached by decent coordinators or coaches, and Todd Bowles is certainly one of those. He will disguise a lot of blitzes. He'll bring pressure left and right, and we'll see if Jordan Love makes the right reads. It kind of seems like a coin flip. And more than that, if Jordan Love makes a couple bad throws like he did last week, will Matt LaFleur panic? Because he very clearly was off his shit for 2 quarters, and then he kind of tightened back up a little bit, and then he freaked out again at the end. So if Matt LaFleur keeps a level head, that'd be great. I don't really trust that. If Vita Vea is there, I don't know how the Packers run with very much success. It'll certainly have to be outside zones, and hopefully that's Aaron Jones and not A.J. Dillon with a little half pitch or something like that. That would be stupid. But then offensively, yeah. So Packers worst in the league, giving up 5.5 yards per carry the last 3 weeks for the season, 4.6, which is 28th in the league. If they are able to establish the run, feels like it's over.
Yeah.
Like if you stop the run, then all of a sudden it relies on Baker Mayfield, and we've seen Baker Mayfield make those mistakes. So it all comes down to stopping the run. If you stop the run, everything else comes to fruition. I didn't say this earlier. Packers favored by 3.5 at home, 41.5 point over under. I think the Buccaneers come to town and take care of business. I don't know what the weather is going to be like. I know that cold shock could be a little bit in play. I could see the field conditions giving them issues to start. But I think the total goes over. I think we see some offensive success on both sides. I'm going to go Buccaneers win this game 23-20, possibly a late score to take the lead.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the flip side. I was coming in saying 21-20, so it's crazy that the over-under is 41.5. I'm going to go Green Bay, but I think Tampa Bay covers.
I'm going 26-21 Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if the Packers have their, full repertoire of weapons here. Quay Walker, it'd be nice to have him back for whatever it's worth, even though, Isaiah McDuffie would be the one coming off the field, and he has been playing pretty well.
Yeah.
We'll see what these corners do. I don't know.
It looks like it's going to be right around 40 and cloudy for kickoff.
Okay. That's not that bad. Is it a noon game?
Yep.
I didn't look. Okay. That's not that bad. It also gives the Packers routine, which I feel like when they're off the routine, they suck really bad, whether that be traveling cross country, primetime game, whatever it may be. Right. So I think that helps them a little bit. But yeah, I mean, some very obvious keys to stop in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if they can do it. I don't know.
Yep.
Stoof says Mike Evans Lambeau leap. If he scores, he's definitely trying it.
Yep.
You know that. I don't know. Will there be very many Tampa fans there?
I doubt it.
Yeah,
Probably not.
I don't feel like. Yeah, I don't feel like they're. I mean, yeah. I don't think there's like a lot of new Tampa fans when Tom was there. You know.
Correct.
And on top of that, they're not good enough to have bandwagoners. So,
like, of course, there's going to be a good handful because people always like coming to Lambeau, but I don't think it'll be anything like that 60-40 Lions game earlier this year.
No. If anything, like I could see maybe we see a bunch of different Baker Mayfield jerseys there.
Probably.
Like I could see Mayfield fans traveling a little bit or being up here. But yeah, we'll see.
I would guess that a lot of Packer fans like Baker Mayfield.
Probably.
He feels like a 80s Packer quarterback.
Yeah, I'd be hyped to have Baker Mayfield as my quarterback.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to talk about before we get out of here?
Baker gonna riz up Simone Biles.
That would be great.
No, shout out Damian Lillard, just got 5th all time in career made threes. But
wow.
NFL's going to Brazil. You guys have any teams that you would like to see down in Brazil?
Yeah, give them the Panthers. Who cares?
Yeah, like Panthers, Bears.
Yeah, keep them.
Keep the Bears.
Like we know, I'm telling you now, the conditions are going to be dog shit terrible.
Certainly.
Like the Olympics was unlivable. They had to truck in water just so there was drinkable water. Yep. I can't imagine it's better. So I don't know. Is there any like Hispanic players that like they need to go there? I can't think of.
Well, I guess Christian Gonzalez of New England is from Colombia or Venezuela, so I guess that's kind of close.
Okay. Yeah, that's not bad.
I feel like you could get a Raiders-Chargers game would be good to have down there.
Sure. Take it. I mean Raiders are kind of Mexico's team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that translates at all. I feel like that's a very ignorant thing to say. Like I don't maybe they all speak Mexican. Yeah, I don't know. They talked about other countries that they were talking about, like toying with, and I'm surprised. I know the population in Brazil massive. People will travel to it. I'm surprised they didn't go for a different one though.
Melbourne, Australia.
Australia was one of them that they talked about when the NFL goes down under.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Luke, you know firsthand how
it's tough.
Crazy. Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yep.
You know what they should do? They should, in the middle of the season, like for this Packer game, they should have sent DeVito Packers to Italy.
Yeah.
That would be insane. They talked about France, which I hope we never do.
Oh, fuck France.
Fuck France. Yeah, 100%.
Send them Rudy Gobert once a year and call it even.
Just send them Rudy Gobert.
They need to keep him. They can't punish us with that.
Right.
Are the T-Wolves still number 1 in the West?
They might be.
The Magic are still number 2 in the East. Like, the standings are wild and nobody's paying attention to it.
Is Oklahoma City still number 2 in the West?
Yeah, they are. Wow. It's insane how the in-season tournament just did not translate.
No, not whatsoever.
The Spurs got the best generational talent, arguably, of all time since LeBron, and they have lost like 19 straight games. They are worse than last year.
Yeah, lost 17 straight, 3-19. Only team worse than them. Oh, 2 teams. Not really surprising. Detroit and Washington. So
they're like a combined 1-40 in their last how many ever games.
Detroit's lost 21 in a row.
Yeah.
That's not fine. Like, there's no excuse for them to be this bad every year.
Correct.
Here's the thing. Detroit's lost 21 straight. I think the Wizards, Detroit, and San Antonio are like 1 in like 50 in their last 50 games. and their only
Yeah.
win was when the Pistons played the Wizards. Like there are some bad basketball teams. And by the way, I saw this online. We need to bring back Draymond for the Warriors Wizards game and just see what happens. You can suspend him again right after, but he needs to be on the court for that
Let him
game.
loose on Jordan Poole.
For sure. Send the Pistons to Brazil, 100%. Fuck those guys. Like, it just doesn't really make sense. Are they tanking? Who are they tanking for?
There's nobody. There's not a generational prospect draft.
And the D League players, all of them are like the G League Ignite or whatever. They're all like, yeah, these guys cannot shoot. Right. So we have like 50 Osar Thompsons in the draft, and that's not great.
Draft.
They need to sign. They need to draft Bronny and then force LeBron's hand. Like, you gotta. We're not trading him,
dude,
LeBron.
LeBron loves his son. There's no fucking way he's going to Detroit. No fucking way.
Just end his career immediately. I mean, his son would fake a fucking heart attack and be like, "Oh, I need help in LA." So dumb. Okay, well, send Draymond to Venezuela. He'd fuck that country up.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week to talk all about it, and we'll be back tomorrow night as well to do a start sit show. Not us three, but the other two Zachs. They will do their thing as always. Pepper them with some very tough questions, and you'll get some questionable answers, I think. So, see you then.